Hey guys, welcome back to another video. I'm Michael Benitez, and today we're going to do another ship battles video. Today we'll talk about a ship that caught fire in 1935 and sank. This ship was called the SS Morro Castle. Let's get on with the story, shall we? The ship was named after the Morro Castle in Havana, Cuba. Morro Castle was built from 1929 to 1930. She was one of the most beautiful ships of the World Line, along with her sister SS Orient. Even though they were pronounced TEL Morro Castle and TEL Orient, I don't know what that means. Please say in the comments below if you know what it is, but they were still fine ships. And the Morro Castle and her sister Orient had one of the most lavish features on board. There was even a dance floor, as well as a dining room. I don't know why, but this room kind of reminds me of the Titanic because this looks like the Titanic. Here is the deck ballroom, which was the picture I showed you a few moments ago. As you can see here, everything about the Morro Castle was special. Morro Castle would usually sail the route between Cuba and New York. But on one September day in 1934, after 4 successful voyages, the Morro Castle would meet fate. On September 5th, 1934, the Morro Castle departed Havana for New York. This was supposed to be a regular crossing, but on this voyage, it will be anything but normal. From the 5th on to the 7th, the ship encountered increasingly bad weather, but passengers didn't mind and went in the ship to enjoy meals and talk with fellow passengers. But the fate would reach the ship even before it could caught fire. Early on the evening of September 7th, 1934. Captain Robert Wilmot complained of stomach troubles after eating dinner, and shortly after, died of an apparent heart attack. The watch was given over to Chief Officer William Worms. The ship would then sail, but she would never reach the port of New York. The ship was 8 nautical miles off Long Island Beach when a fire erupted within the first class writing room. Acting Captain William Worms tried to beach the ship, but the job of launching lifeboats and abandoning ship forced him not to do this. But in trying to steer the ship, all lines were severed, which meant that no radio contact would be made of the ship. At the same time, the wheelhouse lost the ability to steer the ship. The ship was now a floating inferno. For people on board began to scream out in panic. Crew members were seen getting life jackets and jumping into the waters before even helping the passengers. Because of the intense growing smoke and flames, nobody could see on the ship. Because of the fire amidships, the passengers moved towards the stern, while the crew moved towards the forecastle. The wooden decks aboard the ship helped feed the fire. The fire completely overwhelmed the ship. Judging that this was during a storm, many people who jumped into the water probably drowned because of the choppy waters. Only 6 of the 12 lifeboats on board the ship were ever launched. Even though the ship didn't have no steering ability, the ship eventually beached herself on Long Beach on the New Jersey shoreline. By then, many ships had come to the ship's rescue. There was a whole on the scene was complete panic and chaos. People dying, people being burned to death, and the ship being burnt like wood. After the fire was put out, there were 137 deaths and many wounded. The mystery of the Morro Castle began when the mystery of the fire. is speculated that the radio operator on board the Morro Castle had poisoned the captain and then burned the ship. It is unknown if this is true or not, but but he was held responsible for the disaster. However, the acting of the captain of the Morro Castle, the chief engineer, and the director of the ward line were sent to jail instead because of the structure of the ship, which had made the fire spread. As you can see, many people have come to the shoreline to see a burned hulk of a great ship. And as you can clearly tell, she is pretty much burned to a crisp. Pretty much the wooden structure on board her was totally destroyed. Luckily, none of the promenade decks collapsed, because if they did, the casualty count would be much higher. However, the fire was bad enough, and the damage was done. For the next few days, the wreck of the great ship sat on the New Jersey shoreline. Many pictures were captured of the ship, even though she was once a beautiful ship turned into a great burning hulk. It amazes me of how one beautiful ship like this could be turned into burned in just a couple of hours. Here you can see the horrible destruction caused by the fire on board the ship. Even though the ship was so popular when she caught fire, not a movie was made about her, only a couple documentaries and books. However, the wreck of the ship didn't last long. After serving it as an attraction at Osbury Park, the ship was towed to Baltimore, where she was sadly scrapped. What do you think caused the fire at the Morro Castle? Let me know in the comments down below. Even though it's been longer than 75 years since the fire. Thank you guys for watching the video of the SS Morro Castle on September 8th, 1934. Have a nice day. Goodbye.